Hey everybody, it's First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Pan. I just want to give you an update on what's going on with the severe weather threat for tonight. There's some good news going on with the storm system just off to our west. It's starting to weaken just a little bit. Let's take a look at the radar and satellite together. You can see back to the west, the line has weakened quite a bit in the North Carolina mountains and foothills. We've got a couple little showers that have come up through York County. These really aren't doing much. The strongest cells are actually back here in northeast Georgia down into the central Georgia. There's a tornado watch there till 2 a.m. and they talked about issuing a new watch, but it looks like that will not be likely. Even if there is a new watch, it's likely going to be these areas down here in the Midlands of South Carolina. When we take a look at that cape I talk about quite a bit, that thunderstorm fuel, there's not a lot around here. Even when you look at the moist unstable cape, there's just a little bit out ahead of this line, and mainly that is all in South Carolina. It's very weak. This is not very much cape, but if we do see some storms hold together, they're likely going to hold together just south of I-85, and I really think that's the only area that I'm going to be concerned about through about midnight to 1 a.m. because these storms down in Georgia are going to come up right in here. So we're talking Union County, South Carolina, Cherokee County, York County, Chester, Lancaster, Union County, even southern Mecklenburg County, then out towards Anson County, Richmond County, and Chesterfield County. So these are the areas I'm watching the most closely, I would say, tonight. Areas to the north, you're in the clear. I really wouldn't worry too much about the severe weather threat tonight. In fact, let's take a look at the model data going into the overnight hours. We're going to turn that on, and we'll go with our HRW model. Okay, so this is our current time. You can see the line of storms. This is actually, the model did a very good job with this. If we go out into the future, whoops, I went backwards. We'll go forward a couple of hours. This is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight. We got a broken line of storms. Doesn't look too bad here. This actually looks pretty good. We'll go to 1 a.m., 2 a.m., come on, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So you notice the storms are much weaker than they were before. If we look at the helicity, we'll go back. This is basically the amount of shear in the atmosphere. There's a lot of shear, not as much as earlier with the front moving through. But the other thing we look at is what kind of cape are we going to have overnight? And if you look at this, there's not a lot. Most of it's down in South Carolina. This is the fuel the thunderstorms need to get going. So even with that shear, there's not enough fuel to get these storms going into the overnight hours. So overall, things are actually looking really good right now. You look at the temperatures, it's still pretty warm and muggy out there. In fact, we've got dew points pushing 60 degrees. The front itself is actually still back to the west. It's in these regions right in here. So that skinny line right there near Nashville, that appears to be the actual cold front. And if I take a look at the wind speeds, we'll see where the winds are turning back towards the northwest. So you can see the front itself is actually right in here over Nashville, even though this is out. That's the other thing that's going to help us tonight. This is going to allow for this to weaken quite a bit, even though we've got this main line back to the west. So things are starting to look up here for a severe weather threat. If you live north of 85, you can go to bed, no worries. South of 85, really not a huge worry. I would still have the weather radio handy or the smartphone. Make sure it's charged up and ready to go. I'll stay here throughout the night to make sure nothing pops up. But right now, I am optimistic, pleasantly optimistic, that the worst of this weather is going to die down and miss us to the south. Of course, I'll continue to track this and have a complete update coming up tonight at 11 on News Channel 36. Have a great evening, and I'll see you at 11.